All right. So we are gonna be going live in a second here. We get a little bit of a hiccup today, but I think uh I think I managed. All right. I'm sorry, I had to get my cans on in case we watch any videos today. So what is up, everyone? Um, it's a day late and 30 minutes late actually for the stream. So yeah, I'm batting 1,000, man. Hey, what's up, man? I had to get my coffee. That was why I had the start screen go up there. Hmm, it's good. It's hot. Is audio okay? I had to again move everything from one room to the other for the casual stream, and had to redo everything from the gaming stream. So it was a little bit different, a little bit different. But the background has changed again. We are back to the statue dungeon here. So it's definitely been it's been one heck of a week. It's been a long week, long weekend, I should say. So had a lot of stuff happen. Actually, there was a lot of stuff happen, not just for me, but for like the nerd sphere. So we're gonna try to talk about a little bit of that stuff. Uh, hey, what's going on, JT? How you doing, man? So there's lots of stuff to go in and kind of discuss if we got the time for it. You know, so obviously I'm a day late with the stream, but I wanted to make sure I stick to doing this because I want to make sure I keep this going every single week. But I had appointments and things like that I had to do with IRL, and I had to kind of take care of all that stuff first. And then today got delayed a little bit because contractors showed up without telling me to go over some things. So so I was like, I gotta go. I'm supposed to go live soon, but that was really all. So, a little bit of delays, it's kind of what happens. But we are here and we're ready to rock and roll. So I did actually manage to do an entire week worth of figures, which was pretty cool. With all just the crap that's been going on lately. But couple of things we're gonna try to talk about today. Obviously we lost quite a few people in Hollywood this past week. So I want to, talk a little bit about that. We lost a big creator for let's just say people in the adult industry. We lost somebody there. And some other things. We're gonna touch base on some more Crimson Desert news. We're gonna touch base on one thing that I'm actually kind of uh, what do you want to say? I don't know if it's disappointing or sad news or what you'd want to call it, mixed emotions. But we're gonna talk a little bit about a lot of the different anime that are actually ending from last week into the next week. So the next 2 week period, we got quite a few anime that are just either gone for good, like they're gone for good, or they're going to be ending their season. So we're going to have a big, I don't want to say drought as far as anime goes, but we're going to have some of the big ones kind of going away, either for good or, temporarily. And then the other thing I do want to mention, and I'm going to talk about later, is going to be the Crunchyroll hack and what's been going on with that because it happened a while ago and they just kind of came out and talked to us about it. So it's been over a week. So we'll talk a little bit about that. If you guys have not already and you have Crunchyroll, please go change your password, accounts, all that stuff because they did have a data breach. It was a pretty big one, and we'll talk about that at the end, but just public service announcement if you have not already change your log info, check your credit card stuff. If you buy stuff on Crunchyroll, do all that stuff. Double, triple check everything. Make sure your stuff has not been compromised. So I checked all mine. I've got no crazy notifications going on for me. So I might be in the clear. But yeah. So speaking of anime, Um, got some figures this week we highlighted. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna talk about some collectibles first. Have a little sip. So this week I went a little bit anime, went a little bit Marvel, and yeah, Marvel stuff didn't really do too well. So that's why my mascot, who I still haven't come up with a name for yet, uh, is dressed up like one of our waifus from this week because we'll talk about that when we get to her. But Monday, we did not have a Miku. We went back to My Hero Academia with one of my favorite characters, my boy here, Red Riot. And you know what? This is one of the older Masterlized Ichiban show pieces. And you know what? The thing is still an absolute banger. This set was actually from the first video game. So it was from the My Hero One's Justice game, and they had a Kuji release that was just the main four, we'll call them, because I like to call them the main four. I know everyone says they have the main trio, which is of course Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, but I like to include Kirishima in that because I am a big Red Riot fan. He is my probably second favorite student other than Bakugo. So I freaking love him. And this piece itself absolutely nails everything about the character from just the look on his face with the smile to where, no matter what, he's got that even when he's beaten down and he's losing, he's got that just kind of positivity up until one point where we see him get a little defeated in the series, but it's a good character development for him as well as a kind of power upgrade. So we see here he's got his arms are already, hardening and stuff like that in this figure. He's kind of got the fists going together like he's ready to go. This the figure is so damn impressive. I love it. I think it is I don't want to say one of my favorite master licenses, but it's definitely one of those that doesn't really seem to get much attention. And it's probably because it was from a set that nobody really bought. I know the Todoroki it was going for like 12 to $15 at one point. These weren't going for very much money. You could go into a GameStop and pick them up for like 15 bucks. So I don't think they sold very well here. And it was probably because people didn't know if the game was going to be good. But I think this is hands down one of my favorite Red Riots. I absolutely adore it. I think the colors could have been a little bit brighter on it, but it doesn't really take away from it either, and it definitely keeps everything in the same color scheme as the rest. They all do have a little bit more darker tones to them. So, it's definitely a really, really awesome piece. And if I remember correctly, you can still get them on the cheap. Um, let's see. Let's take a look real quick. Let's just take a quick gander real quick to see if I can find one. I mean, even buying it directly from Japan with shipping runs about 60 bucks right now. So that's actually what the retail price was. So I mean, it's pretty damn good that you can still pick one up at retail if you're looking for one. So definitely one to look for if you are a fan of Red Riot cuz man, dude, he's such a good character and I do wish he'd get more screen time, but you know, everyone can't get all that screen time. So, it is what it is. But definitely an awesome piece, and I highly, highly recommend checking them out. Now, what do we got here? Watching Reign of King before waiting for the stream. That is one I have not watched yet. I hear it's incredible. I don't know if it was the character design or what it was, but I kind of, oh man, my chair just slid down a little bit. Sorry. I felt like I was kind of shrinking. Um, That was one I didn't really get to do. That's the one with the little. That's he's got the little like the little round boy, right? I'll call him the round kid. I don't know. I forget his name. I have not watched that. Yeah, it is the one with the kid with the round face. Yeah, okay. I knew I'd recognize that. It's the name, but no, I haven't seen that yet. Is it actually any good? I'll take a quick quick moment to ask questions. I heard it's only 2 seasons, so it's not a very long watch. It's probably one I will watch once the other shows I'm watching I'm caught up on. So it's actually good. Nice, nice. It's one I've wanted to check out, and there's so many series to watch that I'm just like I gotta kind of pick and choose things to watch. But yeah, that's definitely on my list. So good to know that it's pretty good. I heard the whole story is absolutely fantastic. So see, I don't really feel sorrow or anything like that usually. So it's not like I know a lot of people watch like anime and stuff to help with healing and stuff and things just like you're just saying. But I don't really. I kind of just watch anime for the sake of watching it and look for just a good story. Like if it gut punches me or something or hits me in the feels at the end, that's a bonus. Wolf's Rain was like that. I walked into that show, I had no idea what I was getting into, and I was just like, it was just freaking gut punch after gut punch. Like, felt like you were getting your heart ripped out at some scenes. Like that was an amazing series. But yeah, I hear it's got a lot of like deep stuff to it. Despite what it looks like, I hear it's very deep. So definitely have to check that one out. Maybe I'll check it out once some of these other shows are tied up. But continuing on with the anime and the anime figures, we're gonna go ahead to I believe I did a Twin Tuesday. Okay, I did. That's right. And because it was St. Patrick's Day, I didn't have a St. Patrick's Day figure. But I went with the Oktoberfest Amelia. I wanted to like tape over Oktoberfest and write St. Patrick's Day, but I couldn't get it to go right because the way the words curved, I couldn't get things to kind of curve over it the right way without looking so bad. So I went with Amelia from the Oktoberfest trio because she's double fisting the boots of beer, but she's also wearing the green with the green apron, right? I absolutely love this set. I don't even know what to say. It is so freaking cool. And again, she does fit the St. Patrick's Day vibe because she's got the beard, she's got the green, and she looks hot. I mean, obviously, this is Amelia from ReZero. And this piece is so freaking cool. Everything about it is great from the way I know it's like a Poly Girl, St. Poly Girl kind of Oktoberfest looking maid wench, whatever you want to call it, kind of outfit. But again, you'd probably see girls or waitresses rocking around on St. Patty's Day looking like this too. Maybe add a little bit more leprechaun flair to her, but whatever. I got told it was the wrong holiday. I know, I get it, but she still fit into the category for me. Okay, alcohol and green. That's St. Patty's Day. But dude, if you have not checked out these figures yet, I've highlighted this trio so many times on the channel, and they are absolutely amazing. We've got Amelia and we've got Rem serving drinks. They're both double fisting these boots, and then we've got Ram who goes in the middle of them, and she's just chilling, munching on a big, huge pretzel. So she does fit, with the middle in the middle of them for the Oktoberfest kind of trio. Obviously, with this one we get the logo at the bottom, Oktoberfest with the pretzel. It fits. But I just thought Amelia fit with the theme of St. Patrick's Day so well compared to anything else I really have. I mean, I was gonna go with somebody green, so it was gonna be, Froppy, or I have a Rem in like a green outfit, but it just didn't really scream St. Patrick's Day the way Amelia double fisting the boots of beer kind of did. So I said, you know what, I'll listen to everyone complain and we'll just go with it. So I love it. I think it's a fantastic, fantastic figure, and it's one I definitely recommend to people because she is so friggin' cool. I mean, especially if you're an Amelia fan. I know there are a lot of Amelia fans out there. I'm a Rem fan. Ren is best girl. Rem is best girl. There we go. Can't even say it right. I'm a little parched, so I'm having trouble with words. But I think, if you are an Amelia fan, this is a really, really cool one too, just because it's also not often that you see alcohol in these anime figures. And that is it is one of, I think, her and Rem, I think might be the only two figures in my collection that actually have alcohol and alcohol theming in the actual figure itself. There are maid costumes, there are, bartender-ish looking costumes, your bunny girl, costumes and things like that. But none of them ever usually have things like the beer in their actual hands or with their character in general, not even any of the guy characters. There's a couple, I think, more expensive pieces, obviously, but nothing too crazy. So it's interesting to see that with this one, they actually allowed the beer boots to be shown and just visibly so. Sorry, I had a mic error. I just had to check it. All right, so we're still good. All right, cool. Just to make sure. So it's very, very cool in a bunch of different unique ways. And I think one of the unique ways is obviously the blatant use of alcohol because we don't see it much. And the other thing that we don't see a lot of is smoking, which are two things we see a lot in anime and manga. We don't really see it as much in Western stuff because they've kind of shied away from that. We'll see all kind of degeneracy in Western stuff and weird stuff, but we don't really do see a lot of the booze and the alcohol anymore and the smoking. That used to be something that you saw every season of show. You saw dudes smoking cigarettes, things like that. Saw people chugging back beers. You don't really see it as much anymore. We're starting to get a little bit back towards it again, but it's not really the cool thing anymore. So it's a really, really awesome piece. You could go for what? Oh, I didn't see that part. Sorry. I was like, you could go for what? You could go for some double boots. Yeah, dude, it just reminds me of that movie Beer Fest. Dude, oh man. That movie was so good. Like every time I see the boots, like that's boot. Yeah. They're doing Beer Fest. And if you haven't seen Beer Fest, check it out too. But yeah, that was my St. Patty's Day thing. And even here, if you notice here in the little Twin Tuesday at the bottom, I wrote Twin Tuesday, Oktoberfest Amelia, and I crossed it off and in green put St. Patrick's Day. I screwed up because I was supposed to put the leprechaun on that side and Puck on the other side, but it's okay. I mean, Puck would do something like that too. Whatever. It's in his character to kind of pull a little prank and goof off. So like I said, it's a very, very awesome piece, and they're all still pretty cheap. So if you guys are looking for a really cool trio, especially something that's going to be very unique as far as what they're holding, obviously with the beer and the pretzels and stuff, very, very cool, and I highly, highly recommend those. and I gotta adjust my chair because my ass is falling out. There we go. Oh man, I feel like my chair keeps lowering. But yeah, it could be that I'm slouching. I don't know. But what do we got? If I have a place with rare alcohol, 100% bought that Amelia. Hey, you know what? Whether you have it in an alcohol display or not, she's still an awesome piece. I think she's fantastic. The Rem one or the Rom one is a little bit odd just because it's like her like sitting in a corner eating a pretzel, like munching. Um, Almost like she's the one avoiding work, where that's kind of not in character for her. She's kind of the more, let's do everything and I'm good at everything, where Rem is kind of the I'm not really good at everything person. So it's a little bit off, like personality wise, but it still looks really, really cool. So the next piece that I did highlight, we're gonna go away from anime. We're gonna go over to comic stuff, and it's one that I got a little bit, I can't say surprised that it didn't get any views, but or flagged over on TikTok for adult content. Went over to Marvel to one of my favorite Spider-Man love interest, which of course is Felicia Hardy, aka the Black Cat. Now, as you can see here with this one, the little kitty that's next to her. I don't know if you guys could catch it because I tried to go by it really quick once I noticed it. The one I got, the ear had the tip of it broken off. I didn't realize it. Thankfully, I am getting it replaced. Someone that I know is hooking me up because they have an extra. Um, Yeah, but this here, this beauty, this gorgeous piece, I mean, you can see her right up there in the collection. She is a very large sideshow collectibles piece, and she is part of the J. Scott Campbell collection, which he is probably my favorite living artist. Maybe only second to Michael Turner, who passed away very, very young. Um, this is such a stunning piece of Black Cat. She's got the ball with the of the yarn that's kind of made like Spider-Man's head she's got in her grasp. She's got all the diamonds kind of strewn everywhere. And the cat is actually part of the exclusive version. So the standard version didn't come with the cat, just the exclusive. Now, the funny part with this is she didn't get very many views over here on YouTube. And, my theory is proving itself right. Skin tight costume, cleavage busting out in a kind of suggestive pose, right? Every time I post a figure like that, it gets nothing on YouTube. And it also has a flag on TikTok for adult content, which this one got. And I had to appeal it twice, and they finally let it go through. But I don't know what it is with the censorships. It definitely bothers me. It frosts my ass. And YouTube can say they don't censor things all they want, but the proof is in the pudding. I've got it in my own analytics. I can post a picture. I could post a figure like this, and I could put a coat around her, like a Barbie jacket or something, where I cover her up more, and she'd get way more views. It's the same thing with anything else. I've done characters like Rogue and Jean Grey in their skin tight X-Men uniforms, no views, flagged over on TikTok for adult content. It's very, very weird. But yet, a girl can be in this cosplay and she's got millions of views on the internet, right? It gets pushed out to everybody. An advertisement for a certain site, link in the bio, all that good stuff usually follows those cosplay videos up. But it is very wild as to how they don't censor things. But and other things they kind of let through, and we'll leave that other site for a discussion at the end of the stream, of course. But yeah, you know what I mean. If you know, you know. But I think this statue is absolutely gorgeous, and I actually opened this up before, long before I started doing statue reviews on the channel. So this like predates any of that stuff. It kind of started right when I was at the beginning of things, but I am happy that somebody is replacing the cat for me because that bothers the hell out of me. I did look inside of her box and I found the little chunk of the ear. So it's something I could probably glue back together or piece back together, but I would need like tweezers and a magnifying glass, to get that little piece to just sit right. And I ain't doing that. So someone's hooking me up with another cat, so I appreciate that. But yeah, I think it's a gorgeous piece, and if you can notice the trend up here above me going all the way down to this over here, everything over here is all Sideshow Collectibles J. Scott Campbell stuff. So over here, I've got all the fairy tale stuff that I've opened. I have Sultana and Red Riding Hood still in the boxes over on that side of the room that I have to unbox and review, and I'm just so terrified to do it now because they are out of their return warranty. So if anything is broken on them when I unbox them, I'm screwed. But hey, we'll see what happens. And then obviously on this side, I have well, the fairy tales are kind of bleeding through with the Evil Queen, but then I've got which way am I going? This way over here. All the Spider-Man stuff going here, which we've got Black Cat, we've got Mary Jane, we've got Spider-Man and MJ. Further over, I've got Gwen Stacy, and then I've got a Spider-Man actually. So, and then my other sideshow stuff goes down the wall as well. But it's a very, very beautiful piece, and you can still get her for about retail price. The exclusive version with the cat, you're gonna pay a little bit above retail. And as always with these pieces, they're gonna be expensive to ship. You're gonna be looking at like $30 to ship something like this. So shipping is not cheap. But if you are a J. Scott Campbell fan and if you are a Black Cat fan and you're looking for an absolutely incredible piece for a pretty low price for, considering what she is, um, definitely look for one of these. I think if you look, you really, really look, you could probably get one for around $300, and I think the exclusive one retail at like 350. So not really too shy of what the retail price was. So definitely high. Whew, yeah, just stop my words when I saw that booty there. Definitely one I do recommend, as well as the rest of the Campbell lines. If you guys I have not done any of these J. Scott Campbell statues, man, they are phenomenal. I've unboxed a few on the channel, and it's one thing Sideshow they put out some quality stuff. It's just like other companies have gotten to the point where they've priced me out almost. So I've slowed down my roll with buying all those. But if you're looking for a really great black cat for a pretty reasonable price, like I said the $300 range, definitely try to scoop yourself up a J. Scott Campbell black cat because she is absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, that's it for our waifu of the week. Who, yes, I know, it's from an American comic book. I know. I was waiting to hear it, but no, she is still waifu material. Felicia Hardy is still probably my favorite out of all the Peter Parker romances. I think Felicia probably should have been Endgame with Spider-Man. Maybe in some universe she is, but is that I know a little chat messing up here. Can't read that. What does it say? Okay, there it goes. I was my chat was like loading up all weird. Oh, damn, she's so nice. Yeah, she looks absolutely gorgeous. I think she's a great. But you know what? I'm gonna bring her up again just because you commented and you said she looks nice, dude. Like I'm gonna bring her up again. But as you can see, I went by it really fast. You can see that little tip of that ear is broken off, but it will be fixed soon. Like I said, I got a replacement cat coming. So, but yeah, she is just so freaking amazing looking. No Spider-Man pun intended there, but yeah, she is so good. New Spider-Man movie looks. I'm very interested about that, and if I wasn't scared about getting a copyright, I would probably go over that trailer. Um, we'll talk about that though. The new movie looks too really good, but it's just Zendaya as MJ still just it kills it for me. I thought we were gonna get rid of her with the last movie when they forgot who he was, but no, we're still gonna have great value MJ. Oh man, that is and Ned. I can't stand the kid who plays Ned. I think we should have just axed the two of them, got them out, and introduced Firestar and Iceman, and started a whole brand new day with Spider-Man and his amazing friends, having them rock with Iceman and Firestar like the old school cartoons. Oh, could have gave us, the headway for the X-Men. Here we go. Here we go. We're gonna go in. We got Iceman now. He's a mutant, Oh, it would have been so good. And he could have, teased throughout the movie that, he lives at a school and whatever, but trying to convince Peter to go, I think it would have been really, really good. Dude, she is. She's great value MJ. She's not even Walmart MJ. She's dollar store. Like she's Dollar Tree MJ. I could not stand the way they wrote her character. I could not stand it. It was so bad. So freaking bad. And I realized like I keep playing with my goatee because like on the angle of the camera, it looks like it's like shifted somewhere. So I keep freaking seeing myself and I'm like, what is wrong? What is happening to my facial hair? I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, it's just the angle of the camera right now. It's freaking me out, man. I'm looking at myself going, what the hell did I do? Like, what is going on here? Oh no. Dude, oh man. Worked late and definitely didn't have enough sleep today. But yeah. No, like I said, I don't even know if I call her good enough to be great value MJ. She's literally like Dollar Tree, Dollar General Mary Jane. I'm not a fan. I don't like the way she was written. She was very she was very modern audience written, and I absolutely hated it. She was the I know everything and I'm gonna talk down to everybody and ah ha ha. That's not Mary Jane. That's not MJ at all. And it was like you wrote a great Peter Parker with a different take on the story, and they did a great job with writing Tom Holland Spider-Man and his Peter. He was great, and I think I get hate all the time for it. I think Tom Holland is a fantastic Spider-Man, and it's an unpopular opinion, but I think he's the best of both worlds. And I will never take that back. I know people hold Toby as up here, right? Toby was a good Peter Parker. He was awkward, he was nervous, he seemed very reserved and nerdy. 100% did it. Andrew Garfield was a fantastic Spider-Man. He was skinny and spindly and wiry, and he had all the quips and the jokes. Wasn't a very good Peter Parker, though. And then you got Tom Holland, who he embodied the character so well from the get-go in the MCU with like just the awkwardness and like his fascination. Like when you saw him in Civil War and he's like, "Oh my god, look at that. That a metal arm. Oh my god." And he's fighting Winter Soldier and he just stops it with one hand. You're like, "Bro, how strong is Spider-Man?" Like this is how you can tell he's going toe to toe one hand with a super soldier with the metal arm. Like you're like, "Bro, this he can throw down even when he's new to the game." So I really like Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I love Tom Holland's Peter Parker. He didn't have the best supporting cast. That's the thing. His supporting cast and the modernity of the writing in his movies pulls a lot away from it. And I think if you would have placed, I always tell people, place, take Tobey Maguire out of those original Raimi movies, and you drop Tom Holland in there and you have a perfect Spider-Man. You have a perfect Peter Parker, and you have a fantastic movie. Like you drop Tom Holland Spider-Man into Spider-Man 2, just Beat for beat, the whole movie is the same. Nothing has changed. You've got the perfect thing because he had the youth. He's got the awkward nerdiness for Peter Parker, and he's got the great kind of quippy kind of attitude as Spider-Man. So he blends both Garfield and um, Toby perfectly together. And if you were to drop him into the Toby movies, I bet if it was just a different time, it would probably be amazing. The new Velma and Scooby Doo, the new April O'Neil. Oh God, yeah. The body positivity character swaps. Yeah, we don't talk about that here. You know what? I'm not in the greatest shape either, but you know what? No one wants to see my ass up on the screen either. You know, that's the thing. Like, nah, the body positivity, race swap stuff. But you know what? It doesn't work. And that's the thing. They're all self inserts. That's the thing. It's you look at the people that write it and they look like that character. You know what I mean? Like I want to see myself in this, and that's not what it is. DEI character swaps. Yeah, that's pretty much what they are. But speaking of speaking of speaking of bodies and bodies that people like to see, we're gonna we'll go back to the figures before I go off on a whole tangent over on that stuff. But for Figure Friday, of course, a body that everyone likes to see, including the feet on this one. We got our boy Satoru Gojo, of course, in his casual wear. And this is a side of Gojo you don't see very much in licensed figures. There are a lot of third party naughty statues of Gojo. Do not Google those if you are in a workplace or anything or around people where you might get embarrassed because there are some very not safe for work Gojo statues out there where he's doing some very, very suggestive things. But this one here is part of the Sega Figurism line. It's one I love a lot. I speak very highly of the Figurism series because they are very dynamic. This one's a little bit, it's a little bit bland. It's just kind of him standing there casually with some shades on and barefoot, rocking the bare feet on kind of the mat here. It's a very, very different, I don't want to say different look for Gojo because it's still black on black, but it definitely has a different vibe to it than most other Gojos. And the only thing I hate about this one is because he has a very small footprint and a very large base, right? It's a decorative base, it's a mat, but it doesn't need to be that big, right? He doesn't need that much real estate. And that is one of the things I do absolutely hate about it. And I think that, even though you don't see it very well in the piece itself, I'm not a fan of the face on this one as much. I don't, there's something not quite there with it. And it could just be me. But I do like kind of the casual pose, the casual stance, get the hand in the pocket, just kind of looking like, he's either ready to go to bed or he's just getting up from bed. I don't know. But I think it's a really cool looking piece, and it's definitely a different one as far as Gojos go. And again, it's for those people who have that foot fetish, because there are people who like feet. No hate. I think it's weird. I'm not a foot person, but I included this one because a lot of the ladies love Gojo. A lot of dudes love Gojo, and people love feet. So it kind of knocked off some of those fetishes right there in one figure. So if you're looking for a cheap foot fetish friendly Gojo, uh, look up this Sega Figurism series. It's called the Casual Wear Gojo, and he's still pretty cheap. The last time I checked, he's probably gonna run you about 20-25 bucks. Nothing very crazy. Let's see the casual wear. Wow, I actually don't see him listed anywhere. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, I could see him used. You can get him used for about 15 to $17. So not saying brand new, but yeah, if you're looking for like just a casual Gojo, you got a foot fetish, you like feet, I don't know. Um, Definitely check him out. He's one that's on the cheap and he's pretty big actually compared to other Gojos. So he actually stands taller than most of my Gojo prize figures. And even I think even the two Ichiban shows that I've unboxed as well. I think he actually stands taller than those. So a lot of figure for a little bit of money. And that's what I always say. You can't go wrong when it's that case. So again, there's another look at the feet for people who love the feet. But I hate feet, so we're gonna just close that out because I hate feet. I'm not a foot fan guy. But anyways, that was Gojo, and we'll talk a little bit about Gojo at the end of the stream because we'll talk a little bit about anime because why not? But to finish off the week, I skipped over Thursday. Didn't do Reincarnated Slime. People weren't really fond of the Angel Rimuru that I did last week. I got a little bit of negative messages about that one. So I was called all kinds of phobes because I didn't kind of mocked them as being a cross dresser, whatever. It is what it is. But we gave Rimuru a break this week, and I went with Sword Art Online for Sword Art Saturday, back to the fairy versions of Kirito. And of course, this is one of I really, really like. This is called the Fairy Dance Kirito. And the reason why I really like this figure itself is because this is one that he's not actually depicted using his dual blades. This is with him with a kind of a great sword almost. And it's really, really cool because it shows Kirito in a different style than a lot of the other standard Kiritos. This is one of the few that you have in his fairy form. He's got his pointed ears and stuff like that. I just wish they would have given him like wings or something. I think it would have been a little bit cooler. But I think this one's really cool because again, he's got a different weapon. Usually he has a single blade, or he's rocking the dual blades, or he's got one blade sheath, or he's got both the blade sheath, whatever. Because we all know Kirito is the one player who can dual wield, right, in Sword Art. And it's kind of like his thing, right? But I think this one's really, really cool because not only does it have a different costume, but it also has the different weapon, and that's something you don't really see a lot, especially with Kirito pieces. Um, let's see if I can find it. There is one other one, I believe, and I'm trying to look up what it was called. There's one other prize figure where he's wielding a great sword, and I don't see it listed anywhere other than the fairy dance one, but I know there's one other one where he's holding a great sword kind of outward. And I'm trying to look it up and see if I can find it because I'll show it to you guys. It's one I wanted to get and I never could get my hands on, and I am blown away that I cannot find it anywhere. Like he even has one of his female version when he's in Gun Gale. We have that, and he's got the single blade and a gun, you know. But I cannot find the other one with the great sword. It's blowing my mind. I'm looking all over the internet right now. I'm just scrolling for photos of it. I can't seem to find it, but I know there's another one out there. If anyone, like I said, watching this later on knows what I'm talking about, definitely drop it in the comments because I cannot find it if you know what it's called. But like I said, this Kirito, I mean, other than the base, which is kind of, but that's a prize figure for you. I love everything about this. I mean, other than the base and the size, he is very, very small. Let me see if I can grab him real quick, and I'll give you a quick comparison. Let me just see. Ooh, I almost lost my cushion off my chair. Almost just busted my ass. Um, so yeah, so just for like size comparison, and this isn't a Kirito for Kirito, but this is the fairy dance Kirito. I mean, he's average size for a prize figure, right? I mean, he's kind of like your smaller scale. But this is him compared to a base Asuna, right? And she is way taller than him. And wow, I just had her way off on the camera there. Um, but yeah, like you can see like he's definitely smaller than even like Asuna here. So he's not the biggest piece, right? But again, for the price, it was probably around 20 bucks. I mean, it's still a really, really cool piece, and other than the annoying base right here. But he fits well even with something like the Asuna here from Alicization. This is actually the goddess version from Alicization. Really, really cool. Same company makes these. And so again, that's the thing with prize figures is you kind of have to look at what you're getting and scale them out appropriately. Do your research if you're not sure how big a figure is. I always recommend people actually just look into product descriptions because sorry, I just wanted to put her down somewhere where she wasn't going to fall. I always recommend people look in the product descriptions, or if you see a YouTuber or a content creator that's posting the figure, don't be shy about asking how tall it is. I have people ask me that a lot. They'll be like, "How tall is this piece? How tall is this figure?" And I'll always let people know because that is one thing you definitely want to know if you're buying these things, especially with the way prize figures are and how expensive they've gotten. So back when this guy came out, prize figures on the high end went for like 22 bucks. So this one ranged when he came out around 15 to 20 bucks. He was not a very expensive piece. And now you look at something that is this same style, this same quality, and they're going for $30 plus at retail. So, it doesn't hurt to know the size of the piece that you're getting because some of those boxes can be very deceptive for prize figures. You could have a box that's this big, and this wide, and then you take that figure out and the figure's about this tall. So, prize figures can be very, very deceptive. And I always tell people that if you're looking at a prize figure, you're trying to order it on anywhere. Most sites will give you the product dimensions. So when you get that massive box and you open it up and then you see the tiny figure, you're not too disappointed. Um, so that's kind of a little bit of a tangent there, but seeing as how he is a smaller piece, um, that's one of the things I like to mention to people because he is very, very small. So I tell people if you're gonna overpay for this, make sure you know exactly what you're getting. Don't pull them out of the box and go, "Oh my God, I spent $50 for this," and be disappointed. Um, the other thing I get comments about with this one is why is your lighting so crazy? Why is he so white? It's not the lighting. This Kirito is very, very, very pasty white. I actually edited this video to make his skin color a little bit darker. Because let's see, you can see here, I mean, I know the light is shining, but he is whiter than white. I mean, he is about as white as the base. So this Kirito is very, very fair skinned, very pale. And it's because it's his Elfheim version. So if you want a very different vibe for Kirito, I do definitely recommend checking this one out. Like I said, I mean, this figure you can probably get for a decent price right now. I'm looking right now. I'm seeing them range anywhere from 25 to $40. So it's not very, very bad at all. It's actually pretty surprising because again, he is one of the few that actually has um, the elf features. So, and he has like again a great sword. So it's a very very cool Kirito. I don't regret having him in my collection because again, it's a different look, and I always say the variety helps add a little bit of spice and flair to your display. So I definitely recommend him if you can get your hands on one to check him out. So that was all the figures for the week. And I know we went on some tangents. We talked a little bit about some other stuff. Kind of got a little sidetracked, but we still made it under an hour talking about figures. So that's good. We're kind of on our typical time scale here. So, what I always do is I gotta go ahead and I give honestly my opinions for my favorite picks for the week. So, as far as the higher end stuff, it's gonna actually default to Black Cat because she is the only higher end piece that I highlighted this week. So again, this is the Sideshow Collectibles J. Scott Campbell Collection Black Cat exclusive edition. So this is the limited edition that comes with the kitty cat. If you're looking for her, make sure if you want the cat, you order the more expensive premium version. Now, I do hate when they do that because the cat is literally a little tiny piece like this, and they charge like 50 to 100 bucks extra for having that thing in there. The same thing with Starfire with Beast Boy. You had a little Beast Boy on a Roomba, added an extra 100 bucks almost, but it's how they get you. It's how they get your money, and they do a good job of it. So I think this piece is absolutely gorgeous. I love her, and I'm again a huge J. Scott Campbell stan. I love his art, although it is a little overdone now. It's kind of 8 million covers get released a month now, so I've stopped even trying to chase any of those down, especially because the books that they wrap around are usually trash. Um, but definitely an absolutely stunning black cat. I think it's still one of my favorite black cat statues to date. I have not bought another black cat because none of them look as good as this one. So if you can get one for around retail, maybe a little bit more, you're gonna pay maybe a little bit more than 300. I think it's worth the investment. I think she's gorgeous, and it's a no-brainer if you're a J. Scott Campbell fan or a Black Cat fan. So that was my higher end pick of the week. And as far as the lower end stuff, hmm, that is a tricky one because we had Gojo, we had Kirito, we had Red Riot. Well, actually, Red Riot could be considered a higher end too, but he doesn't size up compared to Black Cat. And then we had, you know what? Ooh, I think I actually have to go with, I think I'm gonna have to go with Amelia for the lower end stuff. I really do. I absolutely adore this trio of ReZero girls. I know she's not a St. Patty edition, but just like I said before, I think she's absolutely gorgeous. I love this piece so much. I love the trio of them, and they all look so good together. I think Amelia is done the best. I love the pose, the style, the look on her face. Uh, the boots, of course, are awesome. I know Rem has two as well, but Rem is also on one leg, so it makes me a little nervous over her wobble over time. But this one is really nice. It has both feet stably on the ground. She's kind of in a little pose where she's in motion. The face looks great. The eyes are great. The hair is sculpted well. The pose is great. I just really like this one, and it is definitely again a very different kind of take for figures, especially because there is alcohol present. So it is again a very cool thing to have because it adds a little bit something different to your collection. So again, you can still get her on the cheap. I highly recommend it. And if you're gonna get one, you might as well get all three. So definitely recommended. So those were my favorite picks of the week. You guys are obviously watching later on down the line in the VODs. Let me know what your favorites were in the comments. And yeah, now we're gonna talk about some stuff. We're gonna talk some topics. Got a little bit of nerd stuff. We got a little bit of sad stuff. We're gonna talk about some deaths. We're gonna talk about not some death of anime, but we're gonna talk about some anime series that are ending. We're gonna talk about some gaming. We're gonna talk a little bit about again some more people that passed. Kind of talk about that a little bit. And let's see, what do we want to get into first? We've got Hollywood deaths, we've got Crimson Desert, and we've got some anime stuff. So let's get all the kind of the couple of death mentions that I would do. A lot of people passed away over the last week, right? Um, One in particular I do want to bring up is, uh, as someone who was a huge Buffy fan, um, I do want to talk about this one, of course, because I can't say I'm surprised to see it, right? I'm more that it's one of those things. Obviously, when you see it, you do get a little upset, right? I don't know why this isn't showing up. I don't know what's going on here. Hold on 1 minute. We're not getting that going. That did not show up, and that is really weird. I do apologize for that. Um, okay, so that didn't pop up because I took down the screen share. Okay, so I won't bring up the article, but technical difficulty. I actually replaced that with my console stream and forgot to replace it with the browser. So I'll have to do that from my next stream. So I do apologize. But um, one of the things that we want to go over is again, it's the deaths in Hollywood, and that, of course, we had one of the actors from Buffy, Nicholas Brendan. He died at the age of 54. Of course, he played Xander on Buffy, and he was kind of a fan favorite character. A lot of people loved Xander. A lot of people hated Xander, and a lot of people were not a fan of the actor in real life. We'll say he had some issues, right? Um, but it doesn't mean he was, probably the worst guy in the world either. I can't really say for sure. I've only met him at a couple conventions. He was fine with us when we met him, but I don't know. People have their own experiences with guys. I don't know him personally. I didn't know his life, but he had some rough times, right? So, um, yeah, he died on Friday at the age of 54. It says here, we're heartbroken to share the passing of our brother and son, Nicholas Brendan. He passed in his sleep of natural causes, which I guess that's a good thing, right? Most people know Nicky from his work as an actor and for the characters he brought to life over the years. In recent years, Nicky has found his passion for painting and art. Nicky loved to share his enthusiastic talent with his family, friends, and fans. He was passionate, sensitive, and endlessly driven to create. Those who truly knew him understood that his art was one of the purest reflections of who he was. While it's no secret that Nicholas had struggles in the past, he was on medications and treatment to manage his diagnoses and was optimistic about the future at the time of his passing. Our family asked for privacy during this time as we grieve his loss and celebrate the life of a man who lived with intensity, imagination, and heart. Thank you, everyone who has shown love and support. So, obviously, he had some health problems as well. As in 2023, he had a heart attack, diagnosed with a congenital heart defect. He had some other problems that had him had spine surgeries. He had some problems with alcoholism in the past. He had a bunch of issues, right? A lot of stuff that are pretty common in Hollywood. But it's sad to see it, especially with him being so young, 54. A show I grew up with, I absolutely freaking adored. I still rewatch Buffy and Angel to this day at least once a year. It's just a series that has not grown. It has not gotten stale, and it is obviously Joss Whedon, knowing what the hell he's doing, knowing how to create characters, weave those stories, and I kind of hate that he got canceled because damn, he was a good storyteller. But while we are actually on the subject, and I wish I could share screen right now, and unfortunately I can't without restarting the stream. Um, Before we talk about the next thing, um, since we are on Buffy, we're gonna talk real quick about this. So Hulu has officially passed on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer reboot titled New Sunnydale. Uh, it was kind of a shock because we had Sarah Michelle Gellar come out. She said she was coming back as Buffy. We picked a new Slayer. The girl looked really, really good. She looked like she was going to be great for the role. I thought she looked like she was going to be a perfect fit, and that she was going to pair up with Sarah Michelle Gellar. And we were getting some little news about it. We were getting a little bit of story. They were keeping kind of quiet about the story, but I was very hopeful about it. I was being very naive about it, thinking that we were going to get a great continuation. Well, the only problem is we were getting Chloe Zhao making it. And you all know Chloe Zhao did the Eternals, and that didn't end up very well. Uh, could have been great, maybe if it was if it was a series. Not very good as a movie. She did what she could, and it wasn't that good. But you know, I was a little skeptical on that, and you know, the more I started looking into it, the more skeptical I got. But again, we were seeing more of the castmates sign back on and come back to return as their roles. So I was like, this could work. We could get something. We could get something like a Cobra Kai, where we're gonna continue on the series and a legacy with new characters and tie up the old characters' arcs. I was starting to get hopeful. And then we announced that now the reboot was canceled. It says why it was canceled. So yeah, the new Slayer was Ryan Kiera Armstrong, I believe was how you pronounce her name, right? Um, One of the reasons were the failed plot or the failed pilot. The pilot episode, which featured the new Slayer, was reportedly considered unsalvageable and did not meet expectations. They had creative differences. The project was, quote, too small and lacked enough of Sarah Michelle Gellar. And that's a big deal. If you're going to announce that Buffy's back and then you're not going to give us Buffy, that's a problem. So Geller also criticized an unnamed executive who was not a fan of the original series. And that's a big problem in Hollywood, right? There are a lot of tourists in Hollywood who want to just stamp their name on a project and have no desire to actually create that project, right? To actually continue on that project or that series legacy. They just want to stamp their name on. Oh, I was a part of Star Wars. I was a part of Star Trek. I was a part of the MCU. And then they make stuff and it's trash, right? It's not for the fans, it's for them. I'm going to take my creative spin on it. I'm going to make this into my story. No, you don't make an existing property into your story. If you want your story, go fucking write your story. Don't put your trash into a pre existing property. And that is one of the things I absolutely hate that Hollywood does nowadays. It's self insert, just trash. We don't care about your experience and your life and your story in Star Trek or Star Wars or Marvel or DC or Doctor Who. I don't care about your Hollywood gated community lived experience. I don't give a shit about that. Do you know what I want? I want a good Star Trek story. I want a good Star Wars story. I want a good Marvel story. I want a good DC story. I want fantastically, intelligently written Doctor Who. And you know what I want in my Buffy? I want Buffy. And that is something that is a big red flag when you tell me we're going to bring Sarah Michelle back. Sarah Michelle Gellar back. Got so excited that I just bumped my words. And you're not going to use her. And to me, that is a big freaking mess. Another cash grab using an established universe to push on a large fan. Exactly. And that is the problem. I'm sorry, I got to keep switching back between tabs because my screen share is not working. I'll fix that for next week. Sorry. It was because I switched over to the gaming stream. So that was my own fault. But then we had, let's see, the budget and the tone. The project was reportedly too expensive for the final product and not mainstream enough for Hulu. You know what that tells me? It didn't have enough modernity written into it, any modern dayisms written into it. And you know what? That's a sad thing because Buffy, for its time, right? For the time that Buffy came out, Buffy was very freaking progressive. Buffy had all the things that we literally look at now and we go, oh God, that's being forced. Buffy had all of it. Buffy had the interspecies relationships between the humans and the vampires and all that stuff, right? It had all that. It had lesbian witches. It had all the things you could do. It had the CW romance just actually written well. It had all those things that now we look at now and we go, oh God, they're forcing this in. Because nowadays it's forced in and it's not written well. And that is one thing about Joss Whedon. Hate him all you want, the guy could write characters. And that's exactly it. It was not written as a selling point. But with Chloe Zhao, I don't know because she's kind of part of that whole, cabal of people who push that stuff. I remember when she was telling people Eternals was going to save lives because of all the social justice they had in it. And you know what it did? It flopped. So I don't know, but I know obviously Sarah Michelle Gellar is very upset, which rightfully so. It seemed like she was genuinely excited to come back, and I'm still trying to get my screen share to work. I really wish it would, but because I want to share some of these articles, but it's not working. Um, but yeah, I think it's a damn shame that we lost out on it, but from what we've seen and what we've heard, maybe it's not such a bad thing. Maybe, you know, some things you don't want to come back. You don't want to meet your heroes, so to speak. Maybe we don't need Buffy to come back. Uh, it couldn't be. Eternals accomplished one thing: confusing audiences, boring to death. I'm gonna give Eternals credit, some credit. Um, the way they depicted the powers of the characters in the Eternals was really, really well done. I said we got a better Superman sequence and a better Flash sequence in the Eternals than we did in the Justice League. And that's a hot take, I know. Maybe not the extended cut of Justice League or whatever, but definitely in the standard versions. The way they handled the speedster power, the way they handled the Superman esque powers was done very, very well in Eternals. And I think that is the one thing that movie did do well was showcasing the powers. Everything else was hot garbage. It was just a throw crap at the wall and see what sticks kind of story. No one knew what was going on. No one knew who any of these characters were. Let's see. The only positive I found was that it could be passed on the view list, and you missed nothing to really know. Yes. Until more recently, they never came back and addressed anything that happened in Eternals. They more recently dug into the Celestial after how many years has it been? Um, with that another missable movie, Captain Falcon. What was it? New World Order. No, that was the old name. Brave New World. Brave New World. Brave New World. They actually touch base on that. That's I guess where adamantium comes from. Was from the Celestial. So whatever. They were just going, how can we tie this to X-Men? Oh my God! Hey, we have a thing here that no one's talked about for 5 years, and they said, "Oh, it's adamantium, guys." Okay, sure. Whatever. It's just Marvel not knowing what to do with Marvel anymore. But yeah, it is sad because again, I was hopeful until I saw Chloe Zhao and I saw Joss wasn't going to be involved because The thing that made Buffy and Angel so good was a lot to do with the same things that shows like Firefly and Dollhouse, things like that that were amazing. And that all is Joss Whedon. You can hate the guy all you want. He was difficult to work with. He yelled at people, whatever you want. But the guy knew how to write characters. He knew how to write a story, and he knew how to make you give a shit about all those characters. That is something about Buffy. You can sit down and watch Buffy even now in current day. You can sit down and you can watch Buffy and Angel and you can instantly gravitate to characters just by how well they are written. And it's like we don't get that anymore. How comical to know that your entry into the Marvel universe was just to provide a plot device and nothing else of value. I mean, it wasn't though. They had all these different things they were setting up and they went with nothing. I mean, we got Blade's voice at the end of the movie talking to what Kit Harington's character who was supposed to turn into the Black Knight. Both those things went nowhere. Right? We had the was it Harry Styles, I think it was, show up at the end in the post credits too with with one of the other characters as Thanos' brother, you know. Where'd that go? Nowhere. You know, the Celestial went nowhere. We talked about that. I was talking about that all the time. I'm like, so are we just gonna ignore the big Celestial that's in the middle of the ocean right now? Like, are we just gonna ignore that or just nothing? And they touched on it in She-Hulk. There was like a little newspaper article on the internet in She-Hulk. If you looked, you know, I know nobody watched that because it was a terrible show. Um, but it's just more plot holes that they just throw out there and they don't do anything with. And that is the MCU in a nutshell right now. It's a lot of crap that a lot of people have thrown in that no one else knows about. And that is the problem with Kevin Feige is he's kind of become incompetent now that he's gotten rid of all the people who actually were smart around him. Uh, when the MCU started, Kevin Feige had a great support team. He had a lot of guys who were knowledgeable about comics. He had a lot of guys who were passionate about the comic industry. And those guys all went away. And since that's happened, it's lost its focus. We've got all these stupid hires. Okay, oh well, we've got our first, you know, this, that, and the other thing director. Who cares? I don't care what their gender, their sexuality, their race. I don't care what those orientations are. As long as they make a good freaking film. That's what I care about. But that's become more of the front run thing with a lot of Hollywood now. Is it's not, hey, this director's done this, and this, all these amazing things, so we hired them. It's this actor believes in this, and this producer believes in that, and this person preaches about this, and those aren't the things you should be focusing about when you're creating art for a mass audience. You want to focus on the person that can do the best job, not the person who has the best political view that aligns with you. You know, that's why, like I said, I've said it on streams before. I hate politics stuff. I freaking hate it because it's just taken over everything. Whether it's politics, identity politics, anything, any of it. It all needs the brakes need to get pumped on all of it. You know, and it does. It infects everything. And something just needs to just come in and just stop it, right? And speaking of things that probably could have put a stop to things, another death that we had, which was very very sad. You know, it wasn't that he it was a rough one. We lost Chuck Norris this week as well, this past week as well. And that was a rough one. I mean, to be fair, Chuck was older, right? He was not a young man, like Nicholas Brennan. Nicholas Brennan, 54 years old, not very old. Chuck Norris passed away. Um, again, they're keeping everything kind of private, so we don't know what happened. But I mean, Chuck Norris again was he was old. Um, but it says here on I'm just gonna read since I can't actually share it right now. I'm gonna just read it real quick on his Instagram. They actually posted here. It says, it's with heavy hearts that our family shares the sudden passing of our beloved Chuck Norris yesterday morning. While we would like to keep the circumstances private, please know that he was surrounded by his family and was at peace. So they probably knew it was coming, and he was surrounded by his family and friends. Went out peacefully. That's great. To the world, he was a martial artist, actor, and a symbol of strength. To us, he was the devoted husband, a loving father and grandfather, an incredible brother, and the heart of our family. While our hearts are broken, we're deeply grateful for the life that he lived and for the unforgettable moments we were blessed to share with him. And it goes on. It's a very, very well written kind of piece. As we grieve this loss, we kindly ask for privacy for our family during this time. Thank you for loving him with us. With love, the Norris family. You know, that was one I didn't see coming, but I mean, it's also one. I mean, how old was he? He was, I think he was 90, right? Wasn't he 90 something? Or was he, how old was he? Yeah, he was 86, so he was almost 90 years old. I mean, he was definitely up there. I mean, he probably could have gone longer. I mean, we've seen a lot of celebrities go really, really long. Um, but that was a sad thing, man. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. I mean, I know he just went over there to take over for the Reaper. That's basically it. He's kind of taken over. Grim Reaper had been doing a job good. Chuck Norris said it's time for me to come up there. He just taking it over. But in honor of Chuck Norris, I did watch one of my favorite Chuck Norris movies, Sidekicks. Yes, yes. You don't know? Look it up. It was early '90s film, and I believe, yeah, Jonathan Brandis, his co-star in that movie, he passed away too. He passed away back in 2000, 2000s. When was it? 2003 he passed away. Yeah, and he was actually a Connecticut local. So yeah, but yeah, both of the lead characters in that movie passed away. But I did actually watch it. It was on Tubi, so I streamed it and I watched it. And man, it was just about a kid who was a loser with trying to do martial arts, and he kept having delusions of Chuck Norris in his head to kind of spur him on and do everything. And it was an entertaining movie, man. It was cheesy, it was entertaining, and I loved it. I rewatched it again, and man, it had Joe Piscopo in it, just being Joe Piscopo. It was awesome, man. I mean, Joe's still kicking too. He's 74, so he's still around, man. He's still going. But yeah, dude, it was such a good movie, man. I love it, and it still kind of holds up. I'm not gonna lie, for that cheesy kind of guilty pleasure movie. But and then I'm gonna touch on this. We did have another death, and I don't mean to laugh because it's a horrible way to die. For all the OF creators out there, all our OnlyFans people, yeah, the OnlyFans owner passed away at 43. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Leonid Radvinsky. I don't know. I'm butchering his name probably. But yeah, he is the guy who was in charge and owner of OnlyFans. Sadly, he died of cancer, and that is something we see a lot of. And F cancer, man. Um, but I've seen people going in and they're making jokes. I saw Elon Musk joke around saying he was going to buy OnlyFans and he was going to shut it down. RIP a lot of single women's bank accounts. If that's the case, if it does go tits up, no pun intended. But I think I think while I do follow, I'm not gonna lie, I do follow a few OF creators, not gonna lie. A lot of them I followed before they were OF creators, to be fair. When they were just regular cosplayers, before they kind of went and do that stuff. But it's become so mainstream now that you have young girls looking at it and aspiring to be that, and that's not something I like. Maybe it's because I have a daughter. I always tell her she'll see my feed. I'm not shy. My feed is public to her, and she'll see a girl and she'll see her cosplay and she'll be like, oh my god, her cosplays are so awesome. I'm gonna follow her, and then she'll look and I'll go, always look and make sure those little links, make sure there's no OF link there. If there is, don't follow her. You're a kid still, keep it out of you. But if they don't have it, like there are a lot of cosplayers I follow that I'm like, no, 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 definitely she's good. Follow her. But it's the ones that do the OF. I'll be like, hey, she does a really awesome costume, but maybe steer away from her content because it's just advertising for her OF. But uh, but yeah, I mean, it sucks. It sucks. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing that this guy went away because of what he created, but no, it's sad that more people pass the cancer. It sucks. And no matter who you are, that is probably a really really crappy way to go. And that is one thing that OF didn't start out as a adult content thing either. It did start out as just a platform to raise funds for your fandom. And once I remember when it happened because people were doing Patreon, and once Patreon put a stop to that kind of content on their platform, people moved over to OF, and it blew up, and they put no restrictions on it, and it was go. Now we've got all these girls showing off everything on the internet and making millions. And I mean, more power to them. But the unfortunate reality is, then some of them try to kind of back away from it and, either start another grift or try to beg people to just stop looking up their stuff. So it's one of those things. And I tell my kid that all the time. I'm like, this is what you look at. Here's the example right here. You do these things online, and the internet's forever. You can't take it back. As much as you try, you can't. That is one thing I always try to tell her. I'm like, just for when you're older, just please remember that. The stupid shit you do online isn't going to just go away because you stopped doing those things or you don't want people to remember those things online anymore. So I always try to tell her that. And, hopefully, you know, hopefully she doesn't have those aspirations as she gets older. But hey, whatever. You can only do what you can do. But yeah, I thought I would touch base on that because I do talk about cosplayers and things like that, and a lot of cosplayers are in the OF space, so it may or may not affect them down the line because we don't know what's going to happen in the future with the company. But that's it for all deaths and sad stuff and two people that I grew up watching, kind of going away. Other Let's talk about let's go switch over to some gaming stuff right now. To a game that I have been talking about for a while. Of course, Crimson Desert. Now, if you guys don't know, I had a little rant. I had a little rant about Crimson Desert. Wasn't too happy with my physical copy. That was not a physical copy. Locked behind a download wall. You cannot install the game off the disc. You could not install the game before the game was released. As I told everyone, my copy actually showed up on Wednesday. Could not install it. Could not play it. Could not do anything because the disc is actually just a coaster. It is a key card. It is not the game. It is a key to download the game. So I did make a little bit of a rant video there in the car. Got a little heated, got a little angry, and talked about how frustrated I was over Crimson Desert and Pearl Abyss not actually kind of going that extra mile for this giant flagship game that they put out and just doing something that other companies have done and just give us an install disc. And I don't understand why companies refuse to do that. And I think it is because the companies want to control it to where they can just take that game away at any point, right? That download can go away at any point, and then your disc is useless. Just like if it's a digital only game and they pull it from the storefront. Well, you can't rebuy it, you can't buy it again. I think Steam actually allows you to continue to download it even if the game's removed, but I'm not sure. I know there's games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance that have been pulled off online storefronts that are just they're gone and you can't get them back. So, I'm not as into the digital marketplace. I'm dipping into it now because I got, my new computer here and I started kind of dabbing my toes into Steam a little bit. But that was one thing about Crimson Desert that I was really kind of pissed about was because I am a huge physical game enthusiast. I believe in game preservation. I believe in having physical copies of games that can work past when the server shut down, right? Uh, let's see. Oh yeah, people are going nuts about how difficult it is. It's become divisive to where people are just quitting because they don't like the puzzles. But then again, to be fair, I did hear that the controls are really ass, and they just put out a patch to change the controls and make them mappable. So again, it's to me, it kind of feels like it was almost the worst case scenario that I was thinking about, where it was a Bethesda-ish game where it's kind of buggy and needs some quality of life improvements before it's going to be like, mwah, like chef's kiss. But I also heard that the story is completely ass. And I've seen streamers. I wanted to share some of those clips, but my screen share is not working. Damn it. So we'll touch base on it again next week. Or I'll try to bring it up during one of the gaming streams. But I saw a bunch of the streamers, obviously running defense for the game, saying, well, this is an open world game. It doesn't need a great story. It just needs exploration. And they're like, don't go into this expecting Witcher 3. And I'm like, well, Witcher 3 had a big open world. And it had all these amazing stories and it had all these amazing side quests. So what are we saying? I mean, that's what I was going into Crimson Desert hoping for. I wanted something like Witcher 3 that was gonna draw me into the world and it was gonna suck me in, but everything I'm hearing about it now, because again, I didn't install it because my physical copy is not a physical copy. So Best Buy still hasn't sent me my shipping label back yet, so I actually have to go to the store and physically return it. But yeah, actually, give me 1 second here, I'll show. Just realized I don't need my cans on because I can't screen share right now. So, yeah, I don't need to put any videos on today. But yeah, if you look here, um, this is my physical copy. I do own it still until later on when I bring it back. But yeah, right there, internet required, content download required. That was something, and I made a rant about this. That was something that they never showed this in any of the sale listings, any of the marketing listings, nothing. It was just a standard cover with the ESRB logo on it right here. This was not included. So to me, that is false advertising. And that was enough to make me say I'm not gonna do it. Uh, See, I don't mind that. Too many mechanics borrowed from other games to the point it doesn't really establish its own identity. Yeah, I mean, from what I've been looking at, with people that have been playing it. Um, I've heard great things about it. I've heard a lot of positive. I've heard a lot of negative about it. But again, the biggest things that stand out to me about Crimson Deserts, what people are saying is I'm hearing learning all the new stuff is fun. There's a lot of wrestling moves, there's hand to hand moves, there's a lot of different styles you can do, a lot of different combat you can do, which is great. But from the people that I feel are being really honest about it, and I usually look for negatives. If a person just puts a negative review out there and it's just this game sucks, I disregard that. But if a person's saying this is bad and they're going this is the reason why, I will look at those. And I'll look at those more than people that are going, this game is amazing. This game is game of the year. I'll look at those negative reviews or the positive ones that list actual things. And a lot of the positives I'm seeing are, you know, when you get the hang of it, combat is great. Okay. And I heard the controls are really awkward. And then I heard one of the big positives is after 8 hours, the game becomes absolutely incredible. And I'm like, that's not really a positive to me. If a game takes 8 hours to kind of get going, well, that's a positive for me, right? But whatever. Okay, it's still a positive. And that the game looks gorgeous and that there's a lot of different variety. Okay, those are great pluses. But then on the negative sides, I'm seeing, again, the controls, uh, the lack of tutorials, which I don't know. I hear both sides of that. I don't know. Um, and then I hear that the side quests just feel like MMO side quests, fetch quests, as well as the main story is kind of crap. So I'm looking at all those negatives and I'm going, well, those are pretty valid negatives. And it's the things that we talked on previous streams that I was a little worried about because Black Desert Online is obviously an MMO. And to me, it feels like maybe this was supposed to be an MMO too, and they turned it into a single player game last minute. But, the fascinating thing about it is when this game came out, I'm just going to read this again because I can't screen share it. Um, on launch day, March 19th, Pearl Abyss stock plummeted 30% following the release of Crimson Desert reviews, driven by investor disappointment over a 78% Metacritic score. That's actually not bad, to be honest. 78 is not bad, right? Um, the stock fell 29.88% on the day of the reviews, which actually dropped even more after the reviews, even though it had strong sales. So investors just expected higher scores because of how much it got, right? And the game had a 7 year, $133 million plus development cycle. And they said, this is the problem is we're not going to make all that money back yet. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Um, the game received high user praise, strong initial release of over 2 million copies in its first day, but it's kind of slowed down since then. So, that's one of those things. I mean, if you look here on the Steam charts, I mean, people are playing it. All-time peak 248,000. Currently, right now, at 1 p.m. Eastern, there's 183,000 people playing it on Steam. So that's not a sneeze at, you know. So I mean, people are playing it, and I think as the developers put out some more updates and get things kind of ironed out, more people are going to come to it. But my theory is it's going to be something like Elden Ring, where a lot of people are going to flock to it, and a lot of people are going to kind of put it down and not finish it. What is becoming the norm now is the companies blaming the consumers for the consumers not liking what the company produces. Yeah, I don't See, I don't think that's what it is with Crimson Desert. I think they put very high expectations on the game, and it met them in some aspects, but not all aspects. And to investors, all investors see are dollar signs, right? They're very laser focused. They just see the dollar signs and that's it. And if something's making them think there's not going to be enough dollar signs, they start jumping ship. So it is a tricky situation, you know. So yeah, we'll continue to monitor the game as things go. Maybe hopefully next week I get my screen share situated. Like I said, I apologize not having the screen share this week. I accidentally deleted it out when I started doing the gaming streams through the computer. So yeah, that was my bad. But um, that's really it for Crimson Desert. I'm not going to really dwell too on it too long because the last thing I want to talk about today, um, before I end the stream, because we're getting close to that time. And again, because I don't have screen share this week, I'm not going to really hover on too many things too much. But one of the things I want to talk about is the massive amount of amazing anime that are ending and manga that are ending in this next kind of week period, right? And damn, like, I mean, I have to catch up on all these current things, right? Because I'm still catching up on other things. But just to go over a couple of things, we've got Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 Part 1, Episode 12, March 26th. Then it's done. Oshinoko Season 3 is going to conclude with its 1 hour special finale, March 25th. So that's tomorrow. Hell's Paradise Season 2, concluding Sunday, March 29th. Sentence to Be a Hero, which is on my list to watch. It's finishing its winter run this week. Frieren Season 2, which I've got to go and watch, is ending its current season run this week as well. And then the Chainsaw Man manga is ending this week, which is just the ending of part 2. I don't think the series is going to actually be over, but they are alluding to it is the end of Chainsaw Man. It is over. But to be fair, they did say that with the end of the first arc as well. And then I think due to the popularity, he came up with the school arc. They announced it the same way when arc one ended, and they said it was the end of Chainsaw Man, and it wasn't. It came back obviously for the school arc, and I wasn't really a fan of the second arc. So we'll see. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. A lot of people aren't as into the new season, the new not season, the new arc of the manga. And I wonder if they're just gonna kind of rush through it and stop, because apparently he's already got a new manga in the works. So we'll see. But yeah, that is a lot. Um, we've got Fire Force, I think, also ends too, right? And then we've got, so people are talking about the end of the new gen era, right? So obviously My Hero ended, JJK ended, Chainsaw Man's ending, so like who's gonna kind of rise up and take that place? I don't really know. So it's kind of crazy. Final episode is JJK of Fire Force going on too. That's right, and Hell's Paradise final. There are a lot of series that are going away. Yeah, I heard Netflix is doing a remake of One Piece, which I don't know, it's Netflix, but although they did good with the live action, and from what I heard, season 2 of the live action has broke the Netflix curse, and it's actually good. I gotta I gotta hook up my friend Jack Sparrow and try to watch it, but you know. Um, and then the last thing I want to talk about here, speaking of anime, Crunchyroll, and again, I said that at the beginning of the stream, kind of gave you guys all a little PSA. If you guys do have Crunchyroll, if you buy things on the Crunchyroll store, if you have any kind of account with Crunchyroll, change your passwords, check your accounts because Crunchyroll had a massive data breach last week, I believe it was. What was the exact date? So it was last week. We had one of Crunchyroll. So we had over 100 gigabytes of data stolen from its analytics and support systems following an intrusion against an employee at its business process outsourcing partner, Telis, earlier this month. So this is just coming out now, right? Um, they were able to get customer information, IP addresses, email addresses, and credit card details before having their access revoked. So this was a third party that they outsourced to that actually gave an email to an employee that gave them access. So now, hopefully, something's going to be done to go after that third party. But apparently, it's a third party company in India. So, I mean, they're just going to probably throw poop at them and run away, because it's India. Um, but that's not good, right? So it says right here, and I'm reading a Polygon article. Crunchyroll reassures users about its data breach. The streaming platform says the information hacked is limited. But that's not what they said earlier. All right, this just happened. This article just went up. Um, so on March 12th, the malware went through a computer of an employee at an outsourcing company who has access to Crunchyroll support tickets. So maybe it's going to be a limited thing, but 100 gigs of data of customer data is pretty big. Um, the hacker claims they downloaded 8 million support ticket records, which included almost 7 million unique email addresses. So it sounds like what they're telling us is it's only something you have to worry about if you opened a support ticket with Crunchyroll. Um, do I believe that? Not really. So that's why I say change your passwords. If you buy things on Crunchyroll's website, if you have a Crunchyroll account, change your passwords. Check all your credit cards. Make sure nothing looks funky. It says right here, spokesperson shared the following statement. We are aware of the recent claims and are currently working closely with leading cybersecurity experts to investigate the matter. Our investigation is ongoing and we will continue to work with leading cybersecurity experts. At this time, we believe that the information is primarily limited to customer service ticket data following an incident with a third party vendor. We have not identified evidence of ongoing access to systems in relation to these claims. We're continuing to monitor the situation closely. So, to me, it sounds like they're trying to mitigate people's concern. They're trying to kind of downplay and go, hey guys, it's only support tickets, but that's still email addresses, personal information, all that stuff. Whether or not your credit card information goes to the support tickets, I don't know. But any data breach is a sign to be concerned, right? But also the way I look at it is, 8 million companies in China probably have all my information already, and if they want to look at my webcam and, watch me looking at TikTok or something, whatever, more power to them. But this stuff right here, um, they had other reports saying that credit card details were exposed only when the customer shared them in the support tickets. For the most part, this included only basic information such as the last four digits or expiration dates, and only a few contained full card numbers. So it might not be as big of a concern, but yes, exactly. Companies have to be held accountable for this. And I have a feeling there's going to be a Crunchyroll class action lawsuit. I do. There always is, and people get $3 once the settlement happens. I've had quite a few of those when Sony PlayStation got hacked. when Xbox got hacked back in the day, one of several times, you got like a check for like $4. You know, you got a payout. Oh, it was a great payout. Yeah, you stole my information and I got $4. You know, but I think that's one of those things that is it's crazy. But it happens. I mean, companies get hacked literally on a weekly basis now at this point, and it does suck. And for those people who are anime fans, I mean, Crunchyroll, other than High Dive, Crunchyroll is the only place to go to legally watch anime. Um, I do hate a monopoly. I do. I hate it. I don't think Funimation ever should have went away. I think Funimation was a better streaming service. I think Funimation was a better app. I think Funimation was better managed, but sadly, Funimation did not make enough money, so Sony bought them. I also think Right Stuff Anime's site was a better run website for purchasing products as well. Crunchyroll prices will go down to salvage and exit. I don't think Crunchyroll's prices are going to go down because they just raised the prices, and I wonder if that was a response to them raising their prices. Because if you notice, they raised their prices and then they got hacked. So, not saying it's connected, but the conspiracy wheels are going here. Maybe it has to do with the prices being increased, right? Like maybe, but we don't know. Just my conspiracy theory brain going. Crunchyroll raises their prices, they get hacked. Whatever, just throwing it out there. It could be. It could be. But um, I think that could be. It could be. But I don't see them lowering their prices. Because the only other thing you have for anime is, I mean, obviously Netflix, which keeps raising their prices. Hulu has some; they keep raising their prices. And then there's High Dive, which is a very niche anime streaming service. They're still floating by because they have all the uh, Sentai stuff. So they pulled all their stuff from Crunchyroll and they have it all on their streaming service. So I that's what I kind of believe. I believe it's they're not saying it's a response to it, but I do believe it kind of adds up. It could just be me, but it sucks. It definitely sucks. Um, wow, and that's it. We without screen sharing stuff and going over articles like that, this went a little bit quicker today. So yeah, we went over all the topics I wanted to go over today, so that's pretty freaking good. I don't know if there's anything else I really had. Data breach could easily have been a retaliation. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing is it from what they've revealed so far, an email was sent to an employee and they stupidly clicked the link and it opened up the malware. That's what we're being told right now. Obviously, that employee should be terminated like that because you're an idiot. You don't open up suspicious emails on a company computer. Or yes, exactly. Or they're made a scapegoat. Exactly. There are too many things. But my conspiracy theory brain is going, hey, this is a retaliation because you guys upped your prices again. Um, Again, I'm one of those people, and I know I'm in the minority. So many people sail the seven seas, or the high seas, I should say, for anime. I don't, because I think anime is one of the only forms of media left that still has not been infiltrated by activism, so to speak, I guess you could say, to simplify it. Uh, so much Western media has been just infiltrated by, as we said earlier in the stream, these people that don't really care as much about creating these things other than putting their stamp on them and putting their their life and their experience into these stories. And that is something that has been with Western media for 15 years now, maybe even longer. It's been at least the past 15 years. And it's just been getting worse. And anime is that one thing where we still have things created for a niche and for a broad audience all at the same time. And they're not trying to force things into every story and force all these little, you know, buzzwords and things into stories still. They're still creating and crafting stories. Some of them could be the most ridiculous, cringy stories in the world. But guess what? That was that creator creating their story. It wasn't that creator going, well, hey, One Piece is pretty popular. Let me go throw my idea into that because, stamp my name on it, get some credit. No, they will create their whole thing and they will just take it and they will run. And it's something that Western studios and companies cannot do anymore. They don't have creativity. So I say Crunchyroll upping their price. Well, guess what? It's still cheaper than Netflix. It's still cheaper than Disney Plus. It's still cheaper than HBO Max. And with anime, you have so many niches that you can grab onto, and anime literally has something for everyone. And it's not everyone. It's not stuff that is made for everyone, but it has something for everyone. And I know that sounds weird, but if you think about it, that is really it. If you look at current Hollywood, current Western stuff, it tries to appeal to everyone. We're going to get every single box check in this show and in this series. We're going to get every single group represented. We're going to get every single different, you know, ism and disorder and social justice thing. We're going to put every single thing into this. And we're going to throw it into your face and we're going to tell you what's right and we're going to tell you all this our beliefs and we're going to preach to you. And that's and when you do that, you're not appealing to anybody. And Hollywood still doesn't get it. Whereas anime will go, you like horse girls? You want to see horse girls? We're gonna show you freaking horse girls. You like an anime about a fat elf running around coming into the human world? We're gonna show you that. You like anime about feet? We got anime about feet. You like cross-dressing freaking femboys running around trying to bang aliens? We got that. Like they literally just stick to their guns and they just have every niche. So it doesn't have to be the one thing is going to be made to appeal to everyone. It's going to be we've got a ton of stuff and it can appeal to whatever the heck you like. And I love it. And as much as I have issues with Crunchyroll and their creative freedom they do with their English dubbing, because some of these words and terms don't even exist in the Japanese language. Won't won't go into any of those terms or anything like that. But there are certain terms that do not exist in the Japanese dubs. They're very westernized terms, and they get thrown into all these things, right? As much as I hate the westernization in the dubs, I still think supporting Crunchyroll is okay because it still has something that Western entertainment doesn't, and that's uniqueness and individuality and filling to a niche and catering to niches still. Yes, exactly. Western media is made to be divisive and preachy, no matter what you do. I mean, look at the new Star Trek show. We can talk about that. Uh, it got the axe. It was garbage, CW, woke ass, cringy, bullshit Star Trek. Nobody wanted that. No Star Trek fans wanted it. And people are crying about the old guard on the internet. Oh, you guys are just ists and phobes and everything else. No. You go to Star Trek because you want a good, intelligent story. You don't want CW freaking kitty grade nonsense garbage storytelling. Sorry. You just don't want that. And just that's where anime and manga still get it. Whether you watch it subbed or you watch it dubbed, whatever. No judgment. I watch them both too. But anime is something that I feel I can monetarily continue to support. I pay a yearly on Crunchyroll. It's $99 a year. That's less than $10 a month. I can live with that. I've canceled all other streaming services. I just buy Crunchyroll, and I'm okay with that because I think anime continues to be that one media that's holding the line, and it's standing its ground still. Holding the line and standing its ground. That's right. I did get that right. Okay. And they're not caving to the modern audience, right? And I can appreciate that. Because again, rather than tossing out that wide net and putting every single bit of inclusivity into every single bit of anime to get those, check boxes and those social credit scores, they just have your niche. You want a gay romance anime? We got that for you. You want a heteronormative, quote unquote, that's how you want to call it. You want a heteronormative adventure about a medieval adventure that goes around banging monster girls? Guess what? We got that for you too. You want a superhero story about character growth and learning lessons and life experiences? We got that for you too. You want a classic hero's journey? Guess what? We got those for you. You just want degenerate fan service? We got that for you. It's got everything. And I I think that is why anime has gotten so popular. And it is damn well deserved. We won't talk about some of the fandoms, some of the fans, because a lot of times they ruin things. My Hero Academia with all their shipping and nonsense, but whatever. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother stream. But I think that anime is that one form of media and manga, right? They're gonna go together, anime and manga. They are that source of entertainment that is still holding the line. They're still standing their ground. They're not afraid to go off into left field and be super degenerate, but they're also not afraid to go over to here and tell classic stories. Things like My Hero Academia. I sing My Hero Academia's praise as one of the best series to come out in probably the last 15 years. I don't care what anybody says. When you look at that series from a superhero standpoint, a hero's journey standpoint, just a storytelling standpoint about just good and evil and the ramifications of both, and even of the people that kind of get caught in the crossfire and the dilemmas and all just the moral decisions in it. That series has all of that. And I absolutely adore how well it's written. And I love how everything tied together at the end. I know people hate it. I think it was a fantastic ending. And I don't think there could have been a better way to end it in a satisfying way without killing some people off. And that's one of the things I think My Hero should have done is maybe kill off a couple more characters. But I love it. And then we get other things like Freerin, that is a slow burn, but it is literally a masterclass in just storytelling. And it pulls at the heartstrings when you're watching that show because just looking at things through Freeren's perspective of just being this virtually immortal, race that can't get close to people because she's afraid of loss. And it deals with all that. It deals with the loss and like the burdens and the burden of what a long life would have. And it's like we don't get that with Western media anymore. It's very rare that we get good storytelling. I won't say it doesn't happen, but it's very rare that we get it. And anime has all of that. It has all the great storytelling and it has all the ridiculous slapstick comedy too. Don't get me wrong, it's got tons of that. I My daughter started watching Excel Saga and Is This a Zombie with me lately, like some older shows, and she's adoring them, laughing her ass off. So, long story short, I know I've kind of been going off on a tangent here, just kind of going off. But man, I still tell people support it. I know everyone goes and sails the high seas and they watch their anime bootleg. Some series you have to do that because it's the only way to watch it. But I do say I am not sponsored by Crunchyroll, guys. Support the companies that are putting out product. If you don't want to support Crunchyroll because you don't like the way they're run, fine. Buy the physical media. Buy the collectibles. So show these companies that create these things, show these artists and these manga creators their support. Show it. And I mean, honestly, the cheapest way to do that is to get a Crunchyroll membership or a High Dive membership. Add it to your streaming. Get rid of Netflix or get rid of Hulu or Disney Plus for a month or two and start just watching some anime. There is so much variety there. You can get lost just down a rabbit hole of so much amazing storytelling. Yes, exactly. The older shows still hold up. Bebop is fantastic. Still to this day, that show holds up. I mean, even like stuff like Martian successor Nadesco. Like it's a space adventure. It's a little silly. It's got some serious stuff to it. They're great shows. You can go dip back into early 90s, 80s anime and get some fantastic stuff. Just like you can with regular Western media. You go back to 90s, 80s, early 2000s stuff, you're gonna find some good Western stuff, Western media too. But with anime, they continue to put out good products. And it's something we don't really get enough of. I mean, even their rom-coms are great. I love their rom-coms. I mean, one of the more recent ones we got obsessed with was Isla Sometimes Hides Her Feelings in Russian. Such a cute show. It was great. It was such a good show, and I cannot wait for the next season. Um, My Dress Up Darling, which just ended last year. The manga comes out 2 weeks. Very sad. Kaguya-sama Love is War. I mean, it's got these cute, like, awesome rom-com animes. Like I said, there's something for everyone. And I just, if the worst thing we can do is support Crunchyroll for, you know, $7 a month, I mean, hey, I'll do it. I'll do it willingly because anime is still, again, they're still holding their ground. They are still holding the line to have the quality, the storytelling, and morals. And we just don't get that anymore. And smoking and alcohol, things that like made people look badass and degenerate. I'm sorry, we need to bring that back too. I don't smoke and I don't drink, but when you see a badass dude smoking cigarettes and chugging back beers and stuff in an anime, you're like, dude, he's a badass. Or you see someone like Revy in Black Lagoon chain smoking and drinking beers. You're like, we know she's a badass. Like we gotta bring that back. Yep. Trigun, Wolf's Rain, Full Metal Alchemist, Outlaw Star, Yu Yu Hakusho. Yep. Ninja Scroll. See, I never got into Inuyasha, but dude, there are so many older shows you can go back to. And my one I always tell people to watch is X. The manga never finished. Clamp never finished the manga, but they did make a movie, and then they made a anime series to expand on everything. Still one of my favorites to this day. I love it. I adore it. Wolf's Rain is another one. that I highly suggest, especially if you want to get those heartstrings pulled at, man. Amazing. But that was just kind of my whole other rant there, going on the Crunchyroll and talking about things, and just seeing all the negativity about Crunchyroll and their prices and their practices and their dubbing and everything like that. I get it, but you got to think about it. If Crunchyroll goes away, who's gonna distribute all this anime? Who's gonna supply all this anime? Who's going to do all that? And we already see a lot of studios kind of toeing the line where they're almost going to go bankrupt. We see a lot of the manga creators kind of burning out, So I always say support it. Give it the support. I mean, God, I mean, I buy all the merch I can, I say if something is doing right by the customer, do not shy away from supporting it. And anime and manga is one of those things that I will wholeheartedly continue to tell people, even if you don't watch it, dude, give it a shot. Give it a shot. If you like superheroes, if you're a Marvel fan, watch My Hero Academia. Read My Hero Academia. You will not regret it. Great storytelling. If you like darker, more noir type stuff, kind of like the gangsterish stuff. Like they have tons of things like that. Gangsta was phenomenal. Noir, another series that was great about like femme fatales, so freaking good. It's got everything for everyone. If you have a niche, it's there for you. And they don't try to make everything for everyone, and I love it. And that is going to be the end of that rant, and we're going to end the stream on that. But first, we're going to go over, as I always do at the end of the stream, what we highlighted this week. My Hero Monday. Speaking of My Hero Academia, Red Riot, My Hero One's Justice, Ichiban Show, Master Lives figure. So this is one of the larger boys, one of the big boys. I got him over there, but I can't stretch my arm far enough, and I don't feel like getting up. For Twin Tuesday, obviously, which was my lower end pick of the week, the Oktoberfest, which was renamed by me to the St. Patrick's Day Amelia, of course, rocking the dual boots and the cute little green maid outfit. She looks freaking adorable. I love this piece. Waifu Wednesday, the one that got flagged a couple times. Of course, we're talking about this girl up here, right there, the Sideshow Collectibles J. Scott Campbell Black Cat. And I love this piece. And I tell everyone, if you are a Black Cat fan, if you are a J. Scott Campbell fan, do yourself a favor. Grab one of these while you can still get them for about retail. Absolutely freaking gorgeous. And an absolutely gorgeous boy for the ladies. Of course, Figure Friday was our boy Gojo in his casual wear with his grippers out for everyone to see, man. Again, if you had a foot fetish, this is the Gojo for you, especially for licensed Gojos. Again, as I said earlier, you can get some pretty raunchy Gojo statues if you look up in the third parties, but just try not to do that if you don't want to see a lot of swinging wangs. But and then we ended the week, of course, with Kirito in his elf form with a larger sword than he normally has. So very unique Kirito. Um, I love it. I think it's really, really cool. And again, I love having the different variety of figures, costumes, accessories on them, etc. Because again, it spices up your display a little bit. So having a little bit of variety, a little bit of different looks, always makes things a little more interesting. And that was it for the weekly figures. Um, yeah, we had some fun topics to talk about. I do apologize that I screwed up and I boomered out on the screen share. That was due to me renaming screen share to console stream when I started doing the PlayStation streams. So I got to make a new scene once I log off because I can't do it while I'm active. So next week we will have screen share situated and ready to go. I was gonna share some videos and review some trailers and things like that, but we'll save that for next week. We've gone long enough, I think. We've hit over the 2 hour mark, so about where I want to be. But that's going to be it for today. So, yeah, thanks to everyone who came in and chatted, everyone who came in and lurked. Like I said, I appreciate the viewing and the support. And I especially appreciate you guys that are watching these on the VODs after, because while we haven't been getting many viewers in here initially, views have been ticking up a lot on the VODs. So I appreciate the hell out of you guys that are rewatching this later. I know everyone kind of logs in at different times, so I do appreciate you guys coming in and watching these on the VODs afterwards. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the content. And again, we will be back to the normal schedule with having this on a Monday again next week. This week, because then last week I had too many things going on with contractors and stuff. Kind of lost track of things. This week we're going to be doing a gaming streams on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I'm going to try to do a Saturday afternoon gaming stream because it's my birthday and I do have to work that night, so I can't like go do anything. So we're gonna do like a birthday gaming stream on Saturday if I can kind of swing it, depending on what I got going on. Usually people kind of swing by the house unannounced and on my birthday, so we'll see what happens. But this week's streaming, we're gonna be doing more Zenless Zone Zero because new character dropped, new story dropped. So we're gonna go dive into that starting tomorrow. If we get through all of it, I'll probably dive back into more loose ends of Borderlands 4 because we've been having a blast restreaming that again. And then we're gonna probably have to pick out something new to stream for next week. But new video dropping on Wednesday. Last week I held off on videos and I did post concert videos. Little bit different. So if you guys are interested in the band Hanabi that I went and saw, I did post some short form and some long form videos actually of the concert. One which got hit for copyright, but didn't flag my channel, so it's still up there if you guys want to view it. Just highlighting some of the songs and the tunes that they played at the show in Boston that me and the kiddo went to. And this week I'll be back to regular videos Wednesday, 5 p.m. ish. New video will be dropping. Friday, Prize Figure Face Off will be dropping as well. And yeah, that's going to be it for what to expect for this week. And then next week, again, we'll be back to the normal schedule of Caffeinated Collector on Monday, gaming streams on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So everything will shift back over to normal. And that is it, guys. So another fun episode, even though I did boomer out my screen share. We will again have that remedied for next week. And that's gonna be it for this one, guys. Thank you again for stopping in. As always, if you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, and the share button. Spread the nerdiness. All those socials are right down there. Don't forget to follow them all. I will start streaming on these other platforms as well, which are going to be Twitch, TikTok, and Kick. So if you watch on any of those other platforms, be on the lookout for me. I might be popping up there in the future. So that's going to be it, guys. I will see you all later on this week for some gaming or next week for another episode of Caffeinated Collector.